Welcome back to the West Georgia Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, Mason Taylor. And as always, I'm joined by my father, my co-host, my producer, Mark Taylor. And this is round 3 of our playoff warmups.
Round 3, quarterfinals, Mason.
Yeah.
What's ahead in this podcast is Games of the Week, round 3 brackets. Mason's all excited about that. And then, of course, Mason's matchups. He's going to break down his analysis, previews on those. GBB Sports Game of the Week. Should be National Game of the Week, Mason. Grayson Rams against Carrollton Trojans. That's, of course, your Game of the Week as well. So we'll just move on to that. And then let's start in the brackets. Let's give a little time to this tonight.
Yeah, so obviously Harrod County up there in the top left bracket got to take on a Fitzgerald team that actually the last time they played was the year that Harrod County won the state championship back in 2018. So that'll be a fun one at Staples Stadium, and the winner gets to play one of the two teams that was in the state championship, as we see Northeast Macon's playing Toombs County in a rematch of last year's state championship. So again, Harrod County, let's say if they win, they got to play either the runner-up from last year, Northeast Macon, or the team that put Temple out and won the state championship last year, Toombs County. On the right side, you see Gordon Lee at Worth County. That's a big mismatch there. Gordon Lee, obviously one of the teams that you don't expect to be this far. So Worth County is probably going to have a field day with them. And then Pepperell in the quarterfinal taking on Rabun County. That should be a good one up there in Dragon Stadium. And, I mean, that should be a really good one.
All right, and then we've got Class A Division II.
Wheeler County versus Clinch County. They will take on the winner of Bowden and Jenkins County. Obviously, that Wheeler-Clinch one's going to be pretty good. I suspect Wheeler's probably going to win, though. Bowden and Jenkins County, we'll get into that later. On the right side, Screven versus Early County. Obviously, Mount Zion, they were 7 points. They were a touchdown and a PAT away from being in this matchup against Screven County, but that should be an interesting one. And then this is the big one, Brooks County, who was the state finalist last year, losing to Bowden. They're going to be they're going to be on the road taking on Lincoln County, who I think Lincoln County and Bowden are the two favorites to win state. So that'll be an interesting one as Brooks County tries to upset Lincoln County and move on to the semis for, I believe, at least the second straight year.
We'll see. All right, then in 4A.
Yeah, we'll start on the left side. Creekside versus Lithonia. Lithonia in the quarters, I believe, for the first time since the 90s. I might be wrong on that. But Lithonia obviously had a little bit of an easy draw there. I mean, they beat Griffin, which I guess was somewhat of a close opponent. Centennial easily beat them, but now they got to take on Creekside, who's averaging 61 points a game and just blew past Ware County 49-0. I actually watched the highlights of that game. So that'll be an interesting one. I don't think it'll be close between them two. Cartersville versus at Kell. That should be a really good one as Kell looking to keep their hot streak alive. Obviously, Cartersville been dominating, beat Warner Robins 64-0. Obviously, our game, Central at Benedictine. And then they will play, this is also a rematch of a state championship, Marist North Oconee. That was the 4A state championship last year. North Oconee won 14-7. So the winner of that game gets either Central or Benedictine at home, too. Because they did the coin flip. That's another thing. I just remember they did the coin flip for the semis, and the bottom, or no, the top gets home. So, excuse me. So it would be Central or Benedictine being at home, I believe.
Yeah, and we don't have any of the West Georgia teams in Central West Georgia playing in 5A, but did they get this right with the reversal of the suspensions for the Gainesville team?
I think so. I think because if you think about it, just think about what precedent that sets in the future if you let a team. Because if you suspend the Gainesville players, because most of the Gainesville players that were suspended were not doing anything, and even if they were doing something, I felt like they were right to act in self-defense. And I know GHSA was trying to follow the letter of the law, and they did that. Obviously, a court judge overturned it. So Gainesville will have all their players taking on Langston Hughes, which we love to see it. I just want to see a good football game between those two. Have nothing but respect for Gainesville when we were there earlier on in the season. Great facilities, very hospitable, I think would be the term. Their hospitality was through the roof. But Gainesville at the same time, I felt like they were unrightfully punished. And the referees didn't do anything to stop it. the coaches and the fans of Brunswick, you can hear them in the video, were kind of encouraging it at the same time. And you also got to think about the precedent it sets in the future. Well, if a team's getting blown out, they're just going to start a fight, and hopefully it turns into a big brawl so that the team cannot play or have less players playing in the next game, and pretty much it's a guaranteed loss. So I think this was the right decision by that court to overturn those suspensions.
But can we do anything to diminish the emotions and the hype and the I don't know even what the right word is? It's like, social media today. I was talking with Coach Phillips from Carrollton High School today about this, and we didn't grow up with sports in school with having trash talk on social media ahead of time, and
right.
Then you get on the field, and even just the beginning of the field, even while they're out there warming up, sometimes they're jawing, and then you've got them, playing rough, doing, just very physical, and then of course people get their feelings hurt when they see 42-0 score, and they feel like they're just running the score up on them, and they don't really have to, and there's a lot of things involved with that, and then you just got bad attitudes and bad sportsmanship of some of the players already, so that they already have that, and then you add all the other stuff before. So I don't know. I don't know if you can really, none of that stuff's going to stop, but I think it just goes back to, as we talked about on Monday's show, going back to the culture of what those players and, the coaches and the athletic director are trying to.
Well, I definitely think it all starts with the coaching. The coaches got to get a grip on their players. If you don't want your players fighting, you got to get a grip of them early because, obviously it's never going to stop. But we can't just have a malice of the palace, malice at the palace type games every time somebody gets blown out. I've seen so many blowouts that Carrollton has put on another team, and that those teams did not act that way. So it's no excuse to just act out. I don't really care if you have bad sportsmanship or you think that you shouldn't be getting blown out or you're just mad that you're losing. It's no excuse. There's no place for that in any sport. To be honest with you, for you to just start a full out brawl.
Yeah, and we're gonna have some West Georgia fans right now. They're wondering if they're listening to us. Why in the world are you talking about Gainesville? We're here to talk about our team. So let's get to it, Mason. So 6A. Woo!
Big one. Yeah.
This is a big one on Friday night, Mason.
Yeah, we'll start on the right side. Walton, obviously, after their upset over McEachern, had a pretty easy round 2 opponent in East Coweta. Rolled past them. I think that says 49-14. But they're going to be hitting the road, taking on Valdosta for the second year in a row. Valdosta came up to Walton last year and beat them. Walton going to go down to Valdosta and try to do the same this year, and that'll be an interesting game. Douglas County going back up to Buford for the second time this season. Obviously, Buford beat them by 8 earlier in the season, and a lot of people think that Douglas County has a chance to win that game. If they start slow like they've been doing in just about every game, there's no shot. If they were down 21-0 against North Cobb and came back and beat them in overtime, you go down 21-0 Buford, you're not coming back. That's not how that works. North Gwinnett has a pretty easy one on the road against West Forsyth, and that's not to say anything bad about West Forsyth, but North Gwinnett's on a completely different level. And then obviously our game, Grayson, Carrollton, rematch of last year's state championship, the number 1 team in the nation, Grayson, the number 11 team in the nation, Carrollton. It doesn't get much better than that. And for the quarterfinal, because whoever wins this game has home field advantage, I believe, in the semifinals against North Gwinnett, most likely. So, obviously, semifinals probably going to be easier than this quarterfinal battle. So it's definitely a big matchup in just the third of 5 rounds.
Did I miss your prediction on the Gainesville game and Hughes? What's the outcome?
Look, I have nothing against Gainesville. Again, they let me take a cup home from the game, and very hospitable. I like
souvenir after we beat them.
I have nothing bad to say about Gainesville. I know a lot of people don't like the transferring and all that stuff, and they don't like the coach and everything. But I have nothing bad to say about Gainesville. But that being said, I don't care if they have all of their players suspended or none of their players suspended. I don't see anybody getting past Langston Hughes. I don't think Gainesville's going to be the team to do it. But it would definitely be something funny to watch Gainesville go all the way to state and win it. That would definitely be fun to watch.
Ooh, if anybody from Gainesville listening, you heard Mason. All right, Mason, let's get into all your matchups this week.
Yeah, so I'm going to go out of kind of in my own order. I'm going to do the Carrollton game last since I feel like it's just only right to do it that way because it's bigger. Actually, I'll start off with Bowden, then go to Hurd, Central, Carrollton. So I'll kind of go out of order here. But we'll start off with the team that we would be starting off with anyway, Bowden Red Devils. And they will square off against the Jenkins County War Eagles on Friday at Dwight Hochstetler Stadium. And this is the first meeting between these two teams. Jenkins County coming in with a record of 8-4, Bowden coming in with a record of 10-2, and they are ranked number 4 in 1A Division II. Last week, Jenkins County beat Schley County 41-20. They took a 14-0 lead in the first half and led throughout. Senior quarterback Justin Wright rushed for 183 yards and a touchdown on 11 carries. And again, this was the second week in a row that they've had to go on the road in the playoffs. I mean, the first week they had to go to Wilkinson County, upset them. Then they went to Schley County this past week, and they upset them on the road too. And it's not even necessarily, those teams might be better than Jenkins County, that's why it's an upset. Going on the road is hard enough. Going on the road in the playoffs is even harder. So that's why I would consider them upsets. And, Jenkins County is a very pesky team. They're annoying to deal with, and they might not be, the best, but they are definitely pesky. Bowden, on the other hand, this past week, they beat Washington Wilkes 54-24. They scored 4 third-quarter touchdowns after leading 21-12 at the half. Senior quarterback Joshua Hopkins was 7 of 9 passing for 196 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also rushed for 131 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 10 carries. And then you also had sophomore running back Joshua Chandler, who on 15 carries had 201 yards and 2 touchdowns. This Jenkins County team, they're looking for this is their second straight quarterfinal appearance. They're looking to go to the semis for the first time since 1960. They're 0-1 all-time in quarterfinals as well. And this will be Bowden's, obviously, 4th straight quarterfinal appearance, trying to make the semis for the 4th straight year. And they are 10-6 all-time in the quarterfinals. Jenkins County, their average score this season is a 27-22 victory against the 25th hardest schedule in Class 1A Division II. Bowden, however, their average score is a 45-16 win against the 6th hardest schedule in Class 1A Division II. And Bowden, I have this one being a 45-13 victory for the Bowden Red Devils, 32 points. It's like I've been saying, I think Bowden has an easy path to the semis, and I don't think that Jenkins County is going to beat the 3-time reigning champions, because to be the champion, you got to beat the champion, and I do not think that Jenkins County is going to be the team to prove that point on Friday. So I had Bowden winning by 32 points. I just think Bowden's been far more explosive offensively. They faced a significantly tougher schedule. They enter with a multi-year track record of deep playoff success. And Jenkins County, they do have a strong run game, but they have not shown the same firepower or resume against top-tier opponents, and that's why I have to pick Bowden moving on to the semis for the 4th straight year. And I think this game will be pretty similar to the last 2 games that Bowden's played in the playoffs.
All right.
Next, we're going to be talking about Fitzgerald and Hurd County. Fitzgerald coming in with a 9-3 record. They're ranked 6th in 1A Division I. Hurd County, obviously 12-0 for the first time in school history. They're ranked number 3 in 1A Division I. And the Hurd County Braves will be playing at home in Staples Stadium as they take on the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricane. In their last meeting.
Pause. Sorry. The concussion, man. Okay. You have to go see a neurosurgeon. That's my next step. Okay.
The Hurd County Braves will be playing at home in Staples Stadium as they take on the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricane on Friday. In their last meeting, Hurd County won 38-30 in the 2018 semifinals. Like I mentioned earlier, that was the same exact year that Hurd County went on to state and won. But Fitzgerald does lead this series all-time 3-1. Fitzgerald this past week beat Dublin 28-7. They took a 14-0 lead in the second quarter when senior athlete Vic Copeland had a 69-yard rushing touchdown, and then sophomore linebacker R.J. Stanley had a 25-yard scoop and score. And Dublin did not score in that game until about 4.5 minutes were left on the clock. Fitzgerald completed only 2 passes both touchdowns, one that Vic Copeland caught, the other that he threw. And Fitzgerald led 274 to 240 in total yards in a game of only 3 completed passes. That is an insane stat right there. Heard County, on the other hand, they beat Social Circle 48-10, avenging Haralson County's loss in round 1. Junior quarterback Ethan Tisdale passed for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns and rushed for 126 yards and 3 touchdowns. Junior wide receiver Brody Buck Cofield had 3 receptions for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. This is Fitzgerald's 6th straight quarterfinal appearance. They're trying to reach the semifinals for the 6th straight year. Fitzgerald is 15-5 all-time in the quarterfinals. This is Heard County's first quarterfinal appearance since their state championship season in 2018, and they're trying to reach the semifinals for the first time since that same season, and they are 2-2 all-time in quarterfinals. So for Heard County, obviously, they don't do this too often, and for Fitzgerald, they've made the semifinals for the past 6 years in a row. So they are very familiar with the stage, so the lights probably won't be too bright for them necessarily. But Fitzgerald, their average score this season is a 30-11 victory against the 5th hardest schedule in Class 1A Division I. Heard County's average score is 41-12, and that's a victory against the 33rd hardest schedule in Class 1A Division I. I have this one being a 31-24 game, 7 points to decide this one, and I could see either team winning this game. Staples Stadium's a hard place to play in, but Fitzgerald has a good enough defense to come in there and I think stop that offense. I am going to pick the Heard County Braves, though, to win here 31-24 by 7 points to move on to the semifinals for the first time since their state championship season, because I think Heard County has a balanced, explosive offense, obviously an undefeated season, and despite a softer schedule, I think that gives them just enough of an edge at home against a gritty Fitzgerald team that really relies more on defense and big plays than sustained firepower. So I have Heard County moving on to the semis, but again, I think either team can win that game.
Of course you do, because they're going to win it all. They're going to win the whole state championship. Thank you. You're very welcome, Braves Nation. Moving on. And how about them Central Lions?
Yeah, Central 12-0 on the season. That's the second time they've done that under Coach Umbre Brown. They did it his first season, obviously lost in the quarterfinals. Now they're trying to get past the semifinals and go 13-0. They're ranked number 4 in 4A. They're going to be hitting the road to take on a 9-2 Benedictine team who's ranked 6th in 4A. But don't get that ranking mixed up. I think they're really only 6 because they have 2 losses and they're not undefeated. But Benedictine, first week, lost to Colquitt County in a game they could have won and they probably should have. And then also lost pretty bad to Buford. But that since then, they have not lost. And again, when you lose to 2 top 10 6A teams, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But the Central Lions will go 290 miles east to the east coast of Georgia to square off against the Benedictine Cadets at Memorial Stadium in Savannah. This will be the 2 teams' first meeting all time. Last week, Central beat number 8 Cambridge 64-29. Junior quarterback J.R. Harris passed for 307 yards, 3 touchdowns. Senior running back Jonas Walton rushed for 180 yards and had 101 yards receiving. And that was, in my opinion, the first true quality win for Central this season. And what a better time to do it than right before another big game. And why not do it in the second round? And in that kind of fashion, winning by 35 points. Benedictine, they beat number 9 Cass 21-7. Junior running back Stanley Smart rushed for 101 yards. And senior quarterback Stephen Cannon rushed for 102 yards, passed for 91 yards. Benedictine's defense also intercepted 4 passes. And if you know anything about Cass, they have a quarterback named Brody McWhorter, who is a 3-star going to Mississippi State. So picking off 4 of his passes is not an easy thing to do. And doing it 4 times again, spectacular. But I think for Benedictine, I think everyone thought that game would not be a 21-7 game. I think everyone thought that Benedictine would probably put up more points than that. But I don't know if it was Cass's defense that held them or if they just couldn't get anything offensively. But they have 4 turnovers, so obviously they had plenty of chances on offense to score, and they only scored 3 times. So I'm going to assume that Cass was doing a lot defensively to stop them. But this is Central's first quarterfinal appearance since Coach Brown's first season there 2 years ago. They're trying to reach the semifinals for the first time, Dad, since your senior year of high school in 1987, which is also the last time they won a state championship. And it's the last time they've been.
Hold up. 1988. Don't put me older than I already am.
No, the
Woo!
1987 season, but it was the class of 88.
Oh,
Those were
let's
the
get
seniors that
Hey,
year.
don't get that twisted. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
No, yeah, class of 88 was the last time that they went to the state semifinals, last time they went to state championship, and last time they won a state championship. So Central is 2-2 all time in quarterfinals. The 2 times that they've won was both of the years that they won state championships in 86 and 87. But Benedictine, they're trying to reach the semis for the first time since the same year, 2023. Or no, trying to reach the semis for the first time since 2023. Benedictine is 8-8 all time in the quarterfinals. For Benedictine, this is their 6th straight quarterfinal appearance. They're trying to reach the semis for the first time since 2023, and they are 8-8 all time in the quarterfinals. So 16 quarterfinal appearances all time for them. Obviously, for Central, only 4. Big historical difference there. But Central, they are on average this season have won 46-15 against the 30th hardest schedule in Class 4A. Benedictine, get this. Average score is a 41-14 victory against the 2nd hardest schedule in Class 4A. That's a big margin of victory for the 2nd hardest. But despite that, I only have this one being an 11-point game, 35-24. And Benedictine, they're battle-tested defensively. Obviously, 4 interceptions against Cass shows that. They have a very good defensive line. Cameron Cody, Jameer Lee, LaDamian Guyton, he reclassed up to the senior class, and he's now the number 1 player in the state of Georgia in the 2026 class over everybody, which is insane. They have Micah Williams back there in that secondary playing safety. Offensively, they got Bubba Frazier, who's a 4-star going to Notre Dame. Bubba Frazier. Yeah, 4-star going to play it in South Bend up there in Notre Dame. They got Stanley Smart, who we've already mentioned, who's a 3-star running back as a junior. Stephen Cannon, who's going to play at Texas Tech. He's their 3-star senior quarterback. So this Benedictine team's loaded, but I think they have a battle-tested defense, and they have success against one of the toughest schedules in 4A, the 2nd toughest. And I think that gives them an edge over a very high-powered Central team who really hasn't faced quite the same level of competition. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick Benedictine in this one, but I think it's going to be a 35-24 game. I would not be surprised if Central came back to Carroll County with a ticket to the semifinals. I would not be surprised. Central has a very good team. They are loaded in skill positions, but it's hard to go 290 miles and get a win on the road in the playoffs, especially against a team who's made it to the quarterfinals for the 6th straight year, and a team like Benedictine, who they've been in the state championship picture a lot recently. Especially, I think the last time they went to the state championship was in 2022. It was only 3 years ago. So, and they won it. They beat Cedartown. So I am going to pick Benedictine to win this game. I do think Benedictine's defense is going to win them that game. But I don't think they're going to have 4 interceptions. I mean, J.R. Harris is one of those guys. He just doesn't really turn the ball over. So getting 1 out of interception is going to be hard. I don't think they're going to get 4.
You've got Miss Tracy Burns, who is a fan of this show and loves you, Mason, and yet one of the Lions' biggest fans. And yet she's probably slashing your tires right now. You might want to go check after this show.
No, well, she told me, she said, I got to do what I got to do. I got to pick whoever I think's going to win. And I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised if Central won this game. I mean, Central has the firepower to win this game.
Okay.
No, I literally
Miss Tracy, I'll hold him down. You beat him.
I said that a couple seconds ago. I mean, Central has the capability to win this game.
Of course they do.
But I don't think they will. So I'm going to have to give it to Benedictine. But
I'm
I would love
you,
nothing more.
I believe in you.
I would love nothing more.
Coach Umbre, I'm on with you all the way.
Well, look, if they can go to Savannah,
ride or die.
If they can go to Savannah and do what they did against Cambridge, beat them by 35 points, I would be ecstatic.
You can't stop it. That's right. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to finish it off with, last but not least, Carrollton Trojans. Hey, everybody, I want to tell you about our friends at Buzzard's Coffee here in Carrollton, Georgia. They're located on Bradley Street. They're open 7 days a week, and their owners, Bryce and Shay, are an amazing couple with the best staff in town. They're coffee lovers with a big heart for this Carrollton community, and it shows. They're committed also to continuing what that shop does best, and that is to serve high-quality specialty coffee made with love plus the best ingredients that they can put their hands on, and making Buzzards a place that feels like home every time that you enter. And you can tell them the guys at West Georgia Gridiron podcast sent you. They'll make sure you get the best brew in town. All right, we're back, everybody, and we're going to close this one out with the Carrollton Trojans taking on the Grayson Rams.
This has got me conflicted all week long looking at this game. I've been so conflicted. I haven't really known which team to pick.
Think with your head, not your heart.
Well, Grayson is 12-0.
No, that's actually this one should be opposite.
Grayson is 12-0. They're coming in number 1 in 6A. Obviously, a 26 game win streak. Carrollton's 12-0. They are number 3 in 6A. And they're going to be welcoming the Grayson Rams to Grisham Stadium, something that's never happened before. Their only meeting was the 38-24 loss for Carrollton last year in the state championship. So Grayson obviously leads this series 1-0, but Grayson's never been down to Grisham Stadium. This will be the first time ever.
About to find out.
And it's going to be interesting. One thing I will say, though, and maybe some people won't agree with me, I really hope our attendance is good, because it does disappoint me how our attendance is when it's blowout games.
Coach Phillips said it's going to be just fine.
Well, I probably agree with him, but when I go to a Central game, and it doesn't matter if they're playing the number 1 team in the country or a Rudy Poo team from middle of nowhere, they're always packed out. It seems like for Carrollton, I can't say the same, and it does hurt my heart a little bit. I wish we would show up for the Trojans a little bit more. But regardless of that, I hope Thanksgiving doesn't hinder too many people's plans to show up to this game. But last week, Grayson at home beat the number 8 Colquitt County Packers 31-10. Now, contrary to the score, this game was close 3 of the 4 quarters, because Grayson scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to break open that game. Junior quarterback Deuce Smith was 15 of 22 passing for 218 yards, also threw an interception. Senior wide receiver Dawson Quarterman had 7 of those receptions for 126 yards. And then their junior running back Ashton Turner, he rushed for 106 yards, but it was really, I think his name is Brandon Gray. I think that's his name. It's either Brendan or Brandon, but his last name is Gray. He's number 27. He's the running back. He was the one that scored 3 touchdowns. He had a hat trick, scored those 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter to break open the game. So obviously they get it done with more than just one running back. But Ashton Turner, I guess, is more the feature back for them. For Carrollton, they beat number 9 Harrison this past week at home 51-6. Senior running back Cam Wood rushed for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns on only 13 carries. Freshman quarterback CJ Cipher was 8 of 8 passing for 140 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Carrollton had a lead at halftime of 37-6. This is Grayson's 8th straight quarterfinal appearance. They're trying to reach the semis for the 3rd straight year, and they are 9-5 all-time in the quarterfinals. For Carrollton, this is their 10th straight quarterfinal, and they're trying to reach the semis for the 2nd straight year, and they are 14-15 all-time in quarterfinals. Grayson's average score this season is a 43-9 victory against the 21st hardest schedule in Class 6A. For Carrollton, their average score this season is a 49-13 victory against the 16th hardest schedule in Class 6A. So Carrollton, according to this, has a harder schedule. I don't know. I think non-region's harder for Grayson. I think the region is harder for Carrollton. I think Grayson's region, I think part of that, the reason why their schedule is not as hard is because their region is awful and it's huge. For Carrollton, their region is actually pretty decent, but it's just small. So we have a lot of non-region opponents. But nonetheless, Carrollton does have the harder schedule. I have not know what to make of this game yet. This has been one that I've been wrestling with all week long. And this is one just like the Heard County game, just like the Central game, could go either way. I mean, this is a true heavyweight battle. This is Kobe Bryant versus Michael Jordan. It doesn't get much better than this. This is, Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. I mean, this is 2 heavyweights going at it. Obviously, I think Buford has a little bit easier of a path. Kind of wish we were on their side of the bracket. But the winner of this game is essentially most likely going to meet Buford in the state championship. And this is just like how Carrollton Buford was last year. It was a state championship before the state championship. This is pretty much that. A top 15 matchup in the nation. almost a top 10 matchup because Carrollton is just outside the top 10 at 11. I have this one being 34-24, 10-point game. I have to go with Grayson. As the saying goes.
Oh my!
As the saying goes,
goodness!
To be the champion, you have to beat the champion. And in 26 games, nobody's been able to beat the champion. As much as I would love to pick Carrollton, I cannot pick against the reigning state champion Grayson Rams. I don't care that they're
Matt
at
Skinner, Coach Evans. Y'all gonna have a talk with your boy.
I'm not here to play favorites, and I'm not here to just pick to make people happy. I'm here to pick my genuine thoughts.
This is real talk, high school
football.
Look,
I picked Carrollton to beat Gainesville, and they went over to Gainesville and beat them. So I'm not necessarily right all the time when I pick. This is only the second time I picked against Carrollton, but great. I mean, again, this is I feel like a justified pick here. Grayson has a dominant defense. They have proven success in high pressure playoff games and high pressure games in general. They are obviously have a returning edge from last year's title matchup that gave them and I think that gives them a slight but meaningful advantage over a Carrollton team that's been explosive, but they're just less tested against elite competition. And again, Carrollton has a chance to win this game. They have a chance to win any game they'll ever be in at this point. But Carrollton, I don't know. Grayson. You look at their athletes, and what really scares me is Grayson's defense. They are fast. They're big. Even watching their highlights against Colquitt, they're so physical. I mean, they hit you hard. They sling you down hard. They'll make your head bounce off the ground when they throw you down. I mean, it's just they are aggressive. You love to see it, but I don't think Carrollton has not seen a defense like that all year long. I would love nothing more than to see Carrollton go out there and get a win by 20 points. But I can't pick against Grayson, not when they've won 26 straight and when nobody's been able to beat them. And the only people that have been coming close is Thompson, and I don't even care that they have a junior quarterback in there who didn't start off the season as a starter. I mean, they're getting it done. So this is going to be a battle of the defenses, and it's really going to be Carrollton's offense versus Grayson's defense. That's where this game's going to be won. But it's really going to be a battle of the defenses here, and whichever defense can hold up longer is gonna be better. But I would love nothing more than to see like a Parker game where like Carrollton goes out there and beats them 40-7, even though people think it's gonna be close. But again, I have to pick Grayson here by 10.
Wow. Well, that wraps up round 3, everybody. So go enjoy your games. Everybody, good luck, of course. And Mason, we'll see everybody back on Monday for the results. And some are going to be happy, some won't. But everybody have a great weekend.